Shout out Alkebulan for the algorithm. I like when black folks, black guys, black people just say what time it is. When you just start sparking a certain level of conversation within the universe, when you start receiving a certain level of mastery, you get to the point where you start speaking on what time it is. Because you have a certain level of gift and mastery on a spiritual plane where you can say what it is, where you can just tap in, and what you say what it is going to be what it is, right? But a lot of people don't have that mastery just yet, and they don't have that gift for the soul, that gift for the passion, that gift for the spirited one. Assalamu alaikum, and really just righteous warriorship only to the righteous, right? Because I'm one of those people who speak only to the gangsters, only to the warriors, only to the righteous, only to the truth tellers, only to the ones who stand on business, right? We at a point in time and we at a really unprecedented time, a very beautiful time, but a time for us to really go into whatever layer of knowledge that a black man has been brought here to connect, right? To connect all the dots. You know, we got a conversation now that's about and that's what I'm bringing for. The conversation of the angels, of the agents, the conversation of the ancestors, the conversation of these vampires, right? The conversation of the wolves, or the elves. But see, a lot of people don't know how to go into the conversation just yet, and they go into it from this hate perspective, this angry perspective, right? This is the thing: when you're a warrior, that energy that you got as a warrior, you must recognize that warrior, it will consume you. If you're not in tune with if you're not on your peaceful level, if you're not on a grounded level, as a warrior, you can allow for that warrior spirit of yours that you can be brought here to do a divine mission to consume it'll consume your whole vessel, consume your flesh, because you don't understand just how the nature of you being a person that is brought here to do a divine work, to do a divine mission. Right? Because you angry at a certain level of you perceive as to be an enemy outside of yourself, you end up allowing for that anger to now bite back on you, right? That shit start attacking you. Because you came with a level of knowledge, came with a level of perspective, a level of truth that you recognize that you're here to raise up your people. You're here to raise up a group. You're here to raise up a energy, a vibration to a certain point. But you see, when you get too angry, the anger, everything works like a reflection. So what ends up happening is you angry about your people not being on a certain level, right? Anger only begets anger. So as a warrior, as a spiritual warrior, you got to recognize that you still fighting a physical battle. You fighting a physical battle in a spiritual plane. Not only in the spiritual plane, but in the physical plane, and that shit gotta bite back. It has to communicate with you back, and so it starts to communicate with you back in your physical life, because you trying to communicate rage, you trying to communicate anger, you trying to turn that and alchemize it into something that's useful for other beings, useful for other people and within yourself. But if you don't know how to control that anger, you don't know how to control yourself. You don't know how to control the way in which you speak, in the words, in the way in which you say your words. You gonna put out energy that you ain't ready for. You gonna put out a frequency that you ain't ready to combat, right? For an example, we got a whole bunch of beautiful spirited brothers. You can tell brothers be powerful in the spiritual plane. They have a lot of wisdom. They got a lot of knowledge. They got a lot of ism. And they end up teaching a whole bunch of people, right? But at the same time, what ends up happening is these brothers were never grounded. They was never grounded in their warriorship. They never had a master, right? They never recognized that you was brought here to do a divine job. You was brought here to do a job, but at the same time, y'all brothers get lost in the sauce because you start thinking that the shit that you was connecting, the dots that you was connecting, all was coming from you. No, see, that's where you lose it. That's where you lose yourself, and that's where you lose your consciousness. That's where you lose your mind, because you don't recognize that it's always a master. It's always a master, right? For an example, and we gonna go into it. All praise due to Allah. I'm just going straight into it, y'all. So You coming into this conversation, you come into a very high level conversation. Conversation that's straight from the consciousness, straight from the mind, and it's gonna be some information that you ain't never received anywhere else. Anywhere else on the face of this planet Earth, because it's me connecting the dots. This is Anpu connecting the dots. Anpu in the flesh, right? There becomes a point of time in life where you have to start telling the world, yourself, everybody and everything exactly what type of time you on and what type of time you come here to shift. You understand? So I had a conversation yesterday with a god. I ain't gonna speak his name, but it was about warriors and it was about the Jedi. But we went out and we also went into the other forces that exist within the universe, like the vampires, right? We was talking about the werewolves. Now, this is the thing. We finna get into a whole different type of dialect. And you gotta be ready for that shit. So, I'm one of those people who nothing comes across my path unless I want it to. And unless that path and whatever that's coming across me is being shown to me and revealed to me on a spiritual plane. For an example, recently, look at this bee. Finna come fly on me. Of course. For an example, right? Recently. And I'm the type of person, when I go on YouTube, I'm only looking up a certain amount of things. I'm looking up frequencies. I'm looking up certain levels of knowledge, philosophy, the whole nine, right? But this video came in my algorithm. It was about Dracula. It was about Dracula, the Impaler, right? So I click on the video, and I'm just watching it because, you know, I like to tap into that side of reality. I like to see what's in the mythos, right? I like tapping into the mythology, because I know that 100% from being born on March 9th, right? Being a master number being, my number is 9. So I know everything that comes into my universe is 100%, right? And you gotta know your number as well. That's just a little sidebar. But I tapped in, right, and I'm watching this video. I'm watching the whole thing. So I end up learning that Dracula ain't even a master vampire. And that kind of bewildered me, because I thought Dracula, and I want to ask everybody here, if do everybody here, when it comes to vampires and y'all know about vampires, everybody done in some form of fashion that came across a movie about vampires, you know, heard about vampires, the whole nine, and everybody done heard the name Dracula. Everybody on this live done heard the name Dracula, right? So listening to this video, I ended up learning that Dracula, he had a master. Dracula is the master vampire, but he had one that basically taught him to become a vampire. You understand? The one that but the one that taught him to become a vampire was more so half demon. You understand? He was half demon, half vampire. And I didn't even know this, right? That the one before Dracula and the one who taught Dracula, he had a master. That master was a full-on demon. And I say, okay. Now we finna get somewhere. We finna get somewhere in the universe, because now we finna go and just go ahead and break some shit down. So there's people that exist in this world right now that are the descendants of Dracula, right? Certain figures, certain people that that a lot of people respect, right? That's above the world. So of course we have the understanding of reptilians. We had the understanding of Anunnaki. We had the understanding of the Elohim. We had the understanding of a lot of different cultures and a lot of different realms of people. Now, what we don't go into and what we don't fully accept in reality just yet is just how many different races of people actually exist on the face of the planet Earth. right? So there's a reason why in movies, that if you growing up and watching movies, you will find that there's every time, like Lord of the Rings, right, for an example, there's different races. You got the dwarves, you got the elves, you got the orcs, you got the basically who are like demons, and then of course you got the other human races, black, white, the whole nine. So, but this is in a lot of different mythology, in a lot of different movies, and a lot of different entertainment growing up, right? Of course, then not only that, going through our ancient history, we got in almost every culture across the planet Earth, we got knowledge on dragons, we got knowledge on serpents, we got knowledge on huge snakes, we got knowledge on a whole bunch of different creatures, we got knowledge on even in the Greek mythology, which is really just ancient Egyptian mythology, if you really want to just be, or Kemetic mythology, if you really want to go into it, you got the knowledge of sphinxes, you got the knowledge of Medusa, who is actually a black woman, right? So, but to get all the way back into the vampire talk, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we must recognize just how magical the plane of existence that we exist actually is. Now, me being a musician, me being a artist, I've already walked a certain type of path that a lot of people will ask me, like, brother, how did you learn this? How did you learn that? How did you learn that perspective? Not even realizing that my whole entire life is the perspective, right? In the way of, let's say, in a Buddha Vista, the Buddha Vista teaches that a man, in order for him to ascend into omniscience, and I'm not a Buddhist, right? I'm not a Buddhist. I don't teach Buddhism, none of that. I teach Islam. I teach the unification of everything, right? I teach the unification of the Kemetic science. I teach the unification of the mythology. I teach the unification of even in the bastardized knowledge of Hinduism. I teach the unification of everything, how to make it all one. Because I'm the black man and everything comes from the black man. And that's what I'm here to teach y'all. Even the idea of the werewolf, even the idea of the vampire, even the idea of the elves, all of it comes from the black man. Every single last thing that you done heard out there comes from the black man. And we're going to get into it today on this slide. Because, you know, we the voice of the ancestors. Everybody got to recognize that the ones who are here, the true honored ones, are here now. Everybody, they in your corner. It's certain ones that y'all tapped into. I see it. That y'all tapped into certain ones who out here giving y'all that real ism, that real knowledge, that real game that's gonna really help people to expand their frequency. The good Reverend Ike, right? The good Reverend Ike, who is probably the only Reverend I ever listened to. He said, and I quote, he said, once you learn the power of God within you, he said, once you learn of the power of God within you, you cannot be poor. You can absolutely not be poor once you learn the power of God within you. And the reason why a lot of our niggas be poor is because we place the power of God outside. We place the power of God outside in some material thing. We place our God into wealth, right? We place our God into money. We place our God into the trees, shit. We place our God into the leaves. We place our God into everything else, even into breathing. Certain people have made breathing a God. You understand? And not recognizing that, nigga, the source is within you. And that's just what it is. The source is within you. And if you don't accept that source, you're going to keep on staying in ignorance. And you're going to stay in the lowest vibration that you could possibly be in. And you never going to rise up. You never going to be able to truly get up out of that flesh of weakness, because you still seeing everything as your enemy, right? Even if a fucking vampire exists, that nigga ain't my enemy, because I'm a god. You understand? Even if a reptilian exists, he ain't my enemy, because I'm a god. You understand? It ain't nobody in my realm of existence, no matter what you call yourself and what you represent on what race, from whatever planet that you come from, has the power to destroy a black man. We come from the ancient tribe of Shabazz, the tribe of God, the indestructible tribe. Don't you understand that? That is the 13th tribe, the most powerful tribe, the tribe that they tried to wipe off of the history, the tribe that they tried to take out of the history, the tribe of the angels, the exact ones. And so now when we going into the beings on who we truly are on the face of this planet Earth, when I say that we Asiatic, what I mean is this. This is what I mean by Asiatic. The black man was the first Asian, the one who taught Asians tradition, orientation, oriental science. The science and the mathematics of the Elohim is being passed down through the Asians. And a lot of y'all don't even understand that. If you really want to get down to the nitty and gritty, the I Ching, the whole entire understanding and the fire, earth, water, wind, spirit, we gave and we passed that down to every single last different group of people here on the face of the planet Earth, so we can learn back ourselves. The Asians, the Chinese, we gave them knowledge. We gave the Japanese knowledge. That's why if you go into the Japanese history and a samurai, you couldn't be a samurai without having black blood within you. You understand? Because they understand who we are. Every single last person across the globe know who the black man is. Even a white man want for the black man to be back in his power. You understand? It's just black men don't want to walk in their power. It's just you don't want to be the Elohim. I know a whole bunch of white people who just, I don't actually know them personally, but I just know a whole bunch of them that like to see the power of a black man being expressed. You understand? Because they don't want to. You got to recognize, you got to have the power of the sun to rule the world. You got to have the power of the sun within you to rule the world. Otherwise, you got to use artificial energy. You got to use artificial sources. Hence why you got to create artificial ways to rule. Hence why you need phones. Hence why you need AI. Hence why you need different type of technology to try to control people's consciousness. Because you can't tap into the sun. You can't tap into the source of consciousness. So you got to create an artificial consciousness. You understand? To get everybody to tap into. You see? But you see, you don't even recognize your own gift. You don't recognize your own power. So when a black man tell your black, beautiful self to get yourself in the sun and to download your experience, right? You don't want to listen. You look at that as just, oh, that nigga on some spiritual shit. You understand? That's how you look at it. You look at it, he on some spiritual shit. I believe in Jesus. Jesus gonna save me, right? Jesus is gonna change my whole entire existence when he ain't never changed it. Jesus ain't never changed your existence because you still thinking about a Jesus 2,000 years ago, but that passage, all of the passages are about today. How you thinking about a man of yesterday when all of those teachings were about today. All of those teachings were about a later time. That time never even existed. That time was about something that was happening right here and now. You got to think about it. If you a person, if you a being, you must think about the idea of, like, let's say the rappers, right? Let's go into rappers. Let's go into Nipsey Hussle. Let's go into Tupac, right? When we listen to Nipsey Hussle, when we listen to Tupac, what y'all say? Y'all say that them brothers are before their time. Don't y'all say that? Don't you say that Tupac was ahead of his time? Right? Don't you say that Nipsey was ahead of his time? Right? Think about every black man that was a messiah, right? Who came to teach his people. They was always ahead of their time. They was never in time, on time. They was ahead of their time. You understand? So when you reading about the Bible, when you're reading about anything in that realm or in that spectrum, you talking about something that's ahead of time. Because Yahshua was a man who was ahead of his time. You understand? That's how you must see things. You must see that everything is about your time, is about your consciousness, is about your perspective. Everything is going into, you must recognize that time ain't even linear. It ain't even front to back. Time is a cyclical cycle. It's a cycle. That's why you gonna keep going through the same cycle over and over. It ain't even that it's going from front to back. It's just, nigga, you keep doing the same shit. You keep getting the same results. You tapping into the same cycle because you keep asking for the same dimension. You walking into the same perspective. The perspective is time. Time has always been about perspective. How you see things in your consciousness. Because what you give awareness to, right? That's what grows. Because if you watching something, for an example, right? Just think about these trees. Little dogs, damn, it's a dog over here. He came to come watch the guy. Think about these trees, right? When I look at a tree, it's this little weed tree that now has a bird nest in it. I actually don't want it in my yard, but it's fine. When I'm watching this tree, I can tell, like, based on, because I don't want it in my yard, this tree is literally growing even higher than any other tree around me. Like this literally, I literally have a tree that was about this high at the beginning of the summer, but because I didn't want it there, that shit just started growing higher and higher. And now, look, I was gonna cut it down today, right? But then I looked up in the tree, it's a bird nest. And then I was like, oh damn, I can't cut the tree down now. You understand? Because me, I respect nature. You understand? Wherever my attention go, that shit gonna flow. So I done sat here, I done damn grew the tree with my mind by not wanting it. You understand? That's why I made the post today from a post that I made from, I'm talking about, I got lives where I've been breaking this game down for years. I really just cooled down because I was having my baby. You understand? So I ain't want to just have a certain level of energy around my child. And that's why I've been, respecting the natures of things, because I understand just how pivotal it is for you to make sure that you not only take care of that womb space, take care of a woman's mind, take care of your child while they in the womb. But a lot of y'all brothers don't even understand that perspective, right? Because you got to go seeking it into that deeper layer of knowledge that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brought you, brothers. But of course, a lot of niggas be hypocrites, so they don't want to listen to a master teacher. You understand? They don't want to listen to a master teacher. You don't want to listen to a man who stood on principle his whole entire life. You see, because a lot of niggas don't stand on principle, right? A lot of black men don't stand on principle. So when they see a black man standing on principle, they like, how is that possible? How is it possible for a black man to stand on principle for their whole entire life? He ain't never did no whole shit. You understand? He ain't never did nothing whole. But you see, it's a lot of black men doing a whole bunch of weak, putting a whole bunch of weak energy out there, right? Hurting women, hurting black women, hurting little kids. You see what I'm saying? So you can't listen to a black man that's purified in his moves. You can't listen to a black man that's purified in the way in which he speak, how he raising shit up, because you unpurified. So it start attacking them demons inside you. Now I see what's going on. I know what's happening with these brothers and with these, because again, and then also on another playing field, again, y'all gotta recognize that y'all dealing with vampires out here. When I was talking about Vlad Dracula, the master vampire, the one over him, that nigga was a demon / vampire. I want to go into it. See, a lot of y'all brothers, you better check your desires ASAP. Check your desires. Because a lot of y'all believe that y'all, you see, I'm in this music, right? Because I'm in music, I'm in magic. Music is magic. 100%. I was 100%. When you tap into that field, when you tap into the field of music, you tapping into a whole different side of reality. And when you in that space, a real musician is going to meditate while they making music. And they go into the core of their consciousness to bring out a certain level of energy. Therefore, and they know the spirits that they communicate with. You understand? Every musician that's on a higher level, that's on a higher spectrum, they know that they communicating with spirits. So when y'all hear these rappers and y'all hear these musicians say that they don't know what they doing, They lying to you because the spirits in your consciousness tell you what's going on. You understand? Even if you making music that's tapped in with the devil, those spirits gonna communicate with you in your consciousness. That's how I know they lying to y'all. That's how I know they be knowing better as well. Because you always had to communicate with the spirit. You understand? And so, but what ends up happening is this. You see, I was approached, right? One point in time, I was approached by them folks. They was, see, when you too tapped in, you can't even get wrapped in. You understand? When you tapped in, you would never get wrapped in. I was approached by them folks. They tried to do the whole look, get me to work for them type of shit. They had me. I'm at one of they functions, not a function. I was at one of they studios, right? One of they studios met with one of they head little directors of this label, right? I'm gonna put too much on the 10, but they end up inviting the rest of they little label members to come have a meeting with me. I'm like, wait, hold on. I ain't say I was trying to have a meeting with y'all. You understand? See, that was my first clue. They started inviting all their partners to come in and come meet me. They started giving me like, look, they started selling me the world, right? They like, yeah, you could make music for Drake. You could make music for Cardi B, the whole nine. Then, right, the way that they sold it on the screen, this is Pro Tools, right? If you know how Pro Tools work, on the screen of the computer, they had the names of Doja Cat, Offset. Like basically these are the people who was just in there making music, right? So they had all of the, like, whoever was just in there making music, all their projects was right there for me to see. Like everything was designed for me to see it that way, right? It was designed for me to see Cardi B name right there. It was designed for me to see Offset name, the whole nine, right? Then they invited they had this little ghoul looking little white, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold on. See, my spirit instantly was like, my whole entire soul said, nigga, get up out of here, ASAP. 100%. My soul literally, that nigga said, look, he said, look, God, they trying to wrap you up. They trying to siphon your energy. They trying to take something from you. I said, ASAP. I got up out of there. I said, look, I don't know what y'all be dealing with y'all on, but I ain't rocking with this at all. Because this how I knew, you see, but of course, I'm a master at everything, right? I'm a master at everything. I was 100% on their playground. 100%, but I was too cold. And when you too tapped in, God, it's nobody that could ever do anything, right? Because you too tapped in. But I'm cold, right? So what I did was this. I made sure to play my music. You understand? See, I'm one of those musicians who I think 5 steps ahead, because I always taught to think five times before you speak. Even when you see me speaking quickly, I've already thought 5 times ahead, right? Peace to the God. We're going to get the God, Alkebulan on here, 44. He going to break down some of that. I'm already game tight. I play chess, right? I knew they was devils going into it, because the whole entire time when I met the devil, right, I'm sitting there listening to their conversation. To me, when anybody's talk a little bit too, when they look too friendly, right? Look too friendly. I want y'all to understand is when y'all dealing with a certain level of energy out here in this universe, y'all got certain dreams, y'all got certain desires, right? But there's a person who exists on that other side who want to help you with your desires. They want to help you with your dreams, right? They want to give you everything. They want to give you the world. They help you manifest it, right? And they gonna have this conversation like, look, this is what we do for everybody else. This is what we do. This is what we did for them. This is what I did for them. this is what I could do for you. You see,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's when you know you're dealing with a master. You're dealing with a master devil. You understand? You dealing with a when anybody coming, you selling that, they selling that dream,
Mm-hmm.
they selling that talk. Oh, I can manifest that for you right here in your life, right now. You understand? Right now, right now. You talk
Mm-hmm.
like all I gotta do, all I gotta do is sign. All I gotta do, and I can have this life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can have those auto suggestions. You see, look, tapped in with the guy, man. I've been wanting to have this bill with you.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I've been wanting to talk with you because I see you as, and when I first got on here, I said, I respect all guys, all black men who put their own program out. You
mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to put your own program out here in this universe. You got to, especially when you get to a masterful level at what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like we start to become like the what's it called, the Lord,
Good Lord. Yeah.
not the lords of people, but just the lords in terms of like guardians. You
Right.
understand?
Right. Right.
There's certain people who, let's say, they certain scientists that exist here on the face of the planet Earth who become guardians of the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is why you will have movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is why you will have it represented, right, in the television. Therefore, when when a brother or sister start bringing forth this type of information, you see it as something that's in fantasy world,
Right.
right? You
Right.
see the conversation within the fantasy, so you separating real truth from actual reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And just to vet you back off of what you're saying, in reference to movies, like movies sensationalize the truth.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So we already relegate certain supernatural things to movies, and a lot of times we become desensitized to those movies, not understanding that a lot of times those movies are specifically talking about us.
Absolutely.
So, for me, I like to demonstrate our ancestors' intellectual property in real time. So again, I'm more interested in the science and the mathematics that our
Yeah,
ancestors were involved with, as opposed to just understanding the history. The history is okay, but if we talk about that we gods and goddesses, that means that we got to demonstrate that in real time. You know what I'm saying? So I had
absolutely.
to, basically apply practices, in order for me to discipline myself enough and cognitively be able to take a certain amount of information, internalize it, and present it to the people. Now that information comes by way of a higher level of science. So people who follow me, they know my vocabulary. They've heard me speak about certain things in reference to longitudinal interferometry, which is the science of Ptah, speaking things into existence. Our ancestors understood the science of death, which is
Yeah.
optimized translation of vorticity. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, whoa. No. Look, whoa. Because I got a whole group of people that don't, you know what I'm saying? Now
Yeah.
going to that, see this, that's my conversation right there. You done brought it up, so now we gotta go into it. The science of death.
Yeah.
Science of death. Let's speak on the science of death before you just speak on that a little bit more, real quick.
Yeah. So, for us, as melanated individuals, of course, in Kemet, they spoke about microbiology, right? And understanding that melanin is photoreceptive, that means we process the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Now, this means too that we're also photovoltaic. And there's a difference between photovoltaism and photosynthesis. Plants perform photosynthesis, which means they take sunlight and convert that into sugars. We're photovoltaic, meaning we take light from the sun and convert that into bioelectricity and
Right.
filter that through
Energy.
as information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that key component, their whole idea was to understand how plasma works. So when you look on the glyphs and you see the serpent, you see certain glyphs, they're talking about plasma physics. Why are they talking about plasma physics? Because they understood the process of death by way of electrifying the plasma. They
Right.
understood that plasma is its own entity, it's its own consciousness.
Ah.
And, by way of electrifying the plasma, everything that we're experiencing day to day, all of our memories, all of our experiences, all the music that we listen to is being stored in our plasma. Now, the goal is to electrify it and structure it by way of working out, getting plenty of sunlight, you know, eating electric foods, drinking structured water, because what that does is it manipulates the geometrical lattice of the plasma itself. And now you have structured plasma. And structured plasma produces what you call an easy layer. And that easy layer then becomes literally like a battery. So you're building up the voltage in the body. So upon transition, once the physical body drops, if the plasma is electrified, not only do you maintain your memories when you make transition,
Right.
but the plasma has now gathered enough escape velocity to successfully disengage from the physical body and return back as a star.
Now, see, that make a lot of sense, right? Okay, so let's go into why that make a lot of sense. So we'll break it down. So the God just basically said, by you being in the sun, by you working out in the sun,
Mm-hmm.
by you having a discipline,
Mm-hmm.
you start to train your plasma.
Mm-hmm.
Plasma, let's think about it like, okay, you got blood. You got blood. What else exists as a fluid within the body? You got water within the body.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything exists in threes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that third thing, let's say, is plasma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Naturally, people, okay, and this I see now why a lot of people say, it's in my DNA to be obese.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my DNA to have this disease,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In reality, you just wasn't activating your plasma.
Right.
In reality, you just not activating your plasma. In reality, you just not activating yourself to go higher. You see, it's a dormant gene, right? It's based upon the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You see, based upon the mind and what you willing it to do. You can will your body to do anything, like how you can will the universe to bring anything your way. You understand? Like how you can will the universe to get wealth. You can will the universe to get ass. You can will the universe to do anything in this world, right? But are you gonna take that as an information that you storing in your body? See, now we get into the science of death because a lot of people want to go into, let's say, expanding their minds outside of this realm, right?
Right.
But what's
Right.
the use of expanding your mind outside of the realm if you don't keep your mind
Exactly.
outside of this realm?
Exactly.
You understand? What's
Exactly.
the use of that? You just don't re-enter into a whole nother world that you don't understand.
Exactly.
So it's better to conquer yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Conquer yourself, which is why they don't want you to conquer yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, hence why they want you to, okay, we're gonna make it seem like it's fair seeming to be somebody that's always lusting,
Mm-hmm.
to be somebody that's always fucking around, to be somebody that's always, no, you could be okay in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
no, this ain't about trying to overcome these things that are within you. It's not about trying to overcome these weaknesses. It's not because therefore we get to keep you here on this plane of existence. And you never really get to expand your consciousness outside of what you were capable of. Hence why they don't teach the science of actually, right? The science of raising a God into existence.
Right. 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 Right.
Because that's what death is.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, the whole entire experience of a woman giving birth, that's the science of death.
Mm-hmm.
The full on display in science of death is when a woman gives birth. But what a lot of people don't recognize is that you can birth either a God into existence or you can birth a demon into existence. 100%.
True. Yeah.
Hence why in a lot of in a lot of conversation within your Bible, within those different parameters, it speaks on these things. Like it was a story in the Bible about when Moses met with the wise man, right? Of course, all these parables are about the mind. It's about the inner esoteric plane of existence.
Yeah.
So when Moses met with the wise man, he said, look, he asked the man to teach him, right? He said, I can teach you, but can you be patient with me? Right? He said, I've come across many like you before who want to learn, but you can't be patient, right? So, but Moses said, I could be patient. You understand? So Moses go on the first journey with him, right? I think the dude, the wise man, end up like he had to do something like really atrocious, right? Like kill a baby. You know what I'm saying? Moses was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? We don't do that. We don't do that. He said, you can't be patient with me. You don't understand. I'm trying to
Right.
teach you something.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Right.
And so,
Right.
of course, these are all parables. He ain't physically killed no baby. What he's saying is that the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
the God within you,
Mm-hmm.
knows more than you. It's wiser than you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It knows who a person is before they even a full-on grown human being, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we make decisions that goes beyond and supersedes your emotions, that supersedes your logic. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So you be thinking that you coming from an emotional plane of existence in a way in which you internalizing things, but we coming from the highest
Right.
way of
Right.
internalizing, and that's mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
See, he understood the mathematics of death.
Mm-hmm.
He understood the mathematics of if this child is not reared up correctly, this child has the potential to be a Hitler. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
This child has
Right.
the
Right.
potential to
Right.
be a in here on the face of this planet Earth. You understand? But you see, that's the same. This whole the science of death has been used against us, and it's our science. You understand?
It's our sign.
This is our science that's
Right.
being used against us, which hence why in the music industry today, all of that deaf music, they understood. They matter of fact, they probably got with some of my ancient scholars, learned the science of death, and started putting that shit in all of the music. Therefore, when
But
y'all listen to it, y'all not even recognizing that in the womb,
mm-hmm.
while your baby is gestating, you sitting there listening to deaf music, wondering why these babies are coming out the womb. Damn, they don't like their father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't even know how to latch on for breast milk. You don't feed them breast milk the whole entire night. And wondering why we can't connect to our plasma, why we can't grow up out of this. Why
Right.
we got too many, look, we got all these lords, God. And look,
Mm-hmm.
I'm high energy right now. I'm gonna
No,
let
God,
you,
you
I'm
spitting, bro. Yeah, you
high
spit.
energy right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I got you, God.
yeah.
I
You spit.
wanted to really go live
Yeah,
with
do
you, and
your
you
thing. Yeah,
had to
yeah,
spit.
yeah.
Hence why these babies, they going after the babies, and we gotta recognize this shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I again, gotta get back to my train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
They going after these babies because you must recognize that that is the primordial space. That is the primordial space of death. That is where the seed comes up out of, and that seed unifies in real reality with the other God seeds
Mm-hmm.
in the universe, and they start to think shit out of existence. You see, y'all don't even understand how cold this really get. These children that's coming up now,
Yeah, yeah.
they gonna have the power to think something out of existence. They ain't even gonna have to physically touch the shit. They gonna say, huh, I don't like that in my world. I'm gonna think it out. You understand? See, some of
Yeah,
y'all don't
yeah, yeah.
understand the type of codes that we really dealing with. Y'all don't. You dealing with y'all dealing with the
Yeah, yeah,
elders.
yeah. Yeah,
These
yeah,
are the
yeah.
elders coming through. These are the
Mm-hmm.
old duai.
Mm-hmm.
These are the calamities that's coming through the portal now. You
Yeah.
understand the ancient calamities. Now let's go into that, because I'm Anpu, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my name. So I'm gonna teach y'all on death. I'm gonna teach y'all on what y'all capable of,
Right, right, right,
right?
right.
And so God, he came. My God, right here, who's on. You said he's on teaching all. He's teaching the mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
He's teaching you the science of, right, of Ptah,
Mm-hmm.
which is that math, which is coming here and letting y'all understand really what time it is. See, now the reason why we activated on this level in which we activated is because, again, you must recognize that we here to just tell you what time it is now. It's no longer It's no longer, hey, receive this information or not.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't what we own no
Mm-hmm.
more. The
Mm-hmm.
world ain't on that no more because the world don't need that no more.
Right, right,
The
right.
world is now on when a God show up in his full essence, you listen.
Mm-hmm.
You listen. And you move on. You understand? You take that information, you allow for that shit to gestate within you, and now it's time for you to grow with that information. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no more answering that question. No more answer. Nah, take what you receive. Take that information and keep on pushing. You
Right,
understand?
right.
100%. That's it.
And to add to what you said, the music, we're talking about the music, right? I highlighted with this specific algorithm that it ties directly into mind control. Now, of course, again, they're after the babies, like we're saying. So the music plays a key factor in that. And so when you tie math into it, and you even look back in Kemet, they taught about music by way of understanding the number 8 and the number 9. So in the temple of Heliopolis, they taught about the number 9, and in the temple of Hermopolis, they taught about the number 8. So if you look at the 440 hertz frequency, you add those two numbers, you get 8, because they know that the number 8 governs matter. Now, if you move over to the 432 hertz frequency, that equals up to 9, and 9 governs space and time. So what the individuals that run the industry do is they utilize that 440 hertz frequency because they understand that the mind is a magnetic field. So when you utilize that frequency and you listen to it, what happens is your awareness isn't able to escape outside of your own bubble. Thus, you don't have a broader perspective of what consciousness really represents. Now, listening to 432 hertz frequency, that allows your consciousness to come out of your own bubble and thus expand your mind. Again, understand that the mind is a magnetic field. So when you talk about depression, when you talk about anxiety, 90% of all of that is coming from music, because when you're in your own bubble and you're not able to synthesize maybe two things on the opposite ends of a, bring them together to see the bigger picture, thus you become a victim of your own circumstances because you're not able to have some sort of level of empathy or entropy, the capacity to feel for others. So,
So,
that 440 hertz frequency, again, it tethers you to a specific level consciously because your mind isn't able to expand based on utilizing the number 8 that they taught in the temple of Hermopolis, which governs matter, which traps light. It's a box that traps light, you see? So in reference to what you said real quick, we're talking about this year being a portal year, and the babies acquiescing to a higher level of intelligence. You can see that demonstrated as well in Kemet, too. When you see Isis breastfeeding the baby now, or breastfeeding Heru. Now, again, when we come out of the black hole or the womb, we come out head first. So immediately we're crowned king and queen of the physical reality. And then we sit on the throne, which denotes Isis or Aset. So when you see the throne on the walls in Kemet, that's a feminine principle representing Aset. Now, immediately the baby turns around and is geared towards the breast or the areola, which is the darkest part on the body. Now, you have to ask yourself, how does a baby naturally know how to do that without being directed to the breast? The baby is looking for the way back home because it's looking for the darkest part. Henceforth, it came out the black hole of the darkest part of the body. Because in totality, the home represents the galactic center. Henceforth, why areola, which the etymology of areola means open space, areola, the baby receives the breast milk, which coincides with the Milky Way, or breast milk sugar, which is galactose, which coincides with galaxy. So that galactose is there to maintain the integrity of the baby's genetics. So that way, when the baby comes in
let
there,
me ask you a question.
yeah,
You
yeah,
think
yeah,
you think
yeah.
black men should drink breast milk?
Huh?
You think black men should drink breast milk?
I do. I do.
You think so?
I do, because it has one of the 8 essential sugars that we need, which is galactose. When you eat dates, when people eat dates and they taste that sugar, that's what galactose is. That's what breast milk is. And
I might
actually,
try it.
huh?
I might try it.
Yeah, you should. You should try
I
it.
might try it.
You
Yeah.
should try it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, what it does is it acts like a glue to the keratinocytes. And the keratinocytes is the upper layer of your skin. So a lot of people who go through vitiligo and things of that nature, they are losing pigment. What galactose does is it becomes like a glue that binds to the keratinocytes to allow melanin to stay intact. You see, so again, when the baby immediately comes out, that galactose maintains the integrity of the baby's genetics, so that way it doesn't completely forget who it is upon incarnating to the physical reality.
That makes a lot of sense, because just what you just said, it makes a lot of sense, because I've had a lot of, I mean, my whole entire campaign for the past 2 years in my consciousness was figuring out the way to hold my consciousness through death, right? Mm-hmm. And so I would put myself through situations that were extremely strenuous and see if I could keep my focus.
I do it all the time. Yeah.
I would do that. I would do
that all the time.
Often.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, I remember it was certain times where Red would tell me, like, yo, come speak. Come share that information, share that knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, you used to speaking how you speak, but it's a whole different ball game when you're speaking in front of the people.
In front of people, right?
In front of the people, when you're doing things. See, that's a form of death.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people don't recognize death as that, though.
Yeah,
everybody think death is just somebody dying.
Mm-hmm.
No, death is a thing in you dying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a certain form of pattern in you dying. Death is an expression that's in you dying. It's a cycle that dies within you.
Exactly.
So, and I had this thought, right? So, I put myself through strenuous situations, right?
Yeah.
Like one time, I took shrooms. When it spoke in front of the people. You understand? Just to see if I could hold my consciousness together through my anxiety, through my whatever I would be feeling, to see if I could keep my consciousness together.
And not to cut your wisdom, I want to say it before I forget, but and you can continue after I'm done. But what I was going to say is, we talk about God being omnipresent. We talk about, this omnipresent source. But, with that being said, if we're talking about something that's infinite, there's nothing outside of infinity. There's no sense of reference point for God to have. So God is thus chaos. And we're here to give it order through feeling. You see, so we maximize our experiences by way of feeling, whether it's jealousy, whether it's hatred, whether it's love, because God wants to have some sort of experience in every facet. So when you get or put yourself in a place of uncomfortability, you're experiencing everything all at once.
There you go.
That's why a lot of artists, when they get on stage, they get off the stage and don't remember what happened because something took over. You see, it's a death process. It's a death process. So, with that being said, I do it all the time. I put myself in situations that's strenuous. And, people have been following me, heard me explain this 100 times, but I'm explaining it for those who haven't. But the brain sees a level of stress as a sense of cognitive stress. It doesn't like it. So what it does is it activates what you call adaptive stress response pathways, which then leads into a specific protein called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factors. Brain-derived neurotrophic factors then lead into a level of synaptic plasticity where the physical brain is literally developing because you're putting a level of pressure and stress on it. And compression and stress is nothing but voltage. So now your brain is going
to cut your wisdom.
Yeah.
What that remind me of is we ascend consciously. We ascend consciously, and let's think about it as like there's a gate your consciousness has to go through, right? In order for your brain to get to a whole nother stratosphere.
Right.
So for a long, it's like Dragon Ball Z. It's like Goku. At first, his highest level was what? Super Saiyan 3. What Beerus tell Goku? He said, "You can't even fight me because you don't even understand my power level is in a different dimension." So those same parameters that the brain goes through, those are different dimensions.
Those are different dimensions,
Different
right?
Dimensions that open up to you. The reason why you can't get the reason why a lot of people don't want to work out is because their vibration is still in a lower dimension. Working out is in a higher dimension. You understand? They gotta break through. You gotta break through in the consciousness. You gotta be uncomfortable for so long first.
Uncomfortable,
To
right?
break through it.
Right.
Once you break through, your brain, it opens up new patterns, opens up a whole new magnetic field for you. And it rises. That's why we got, the understanding of the seven heavens. We got the understanding of the seven heavens. There's different layers to the conscious, different dimensions of the brain. But you only get through it through pain.
Through pain.
Through pain.
And like I said, I do that all the time. I throw a God body challenge every month. A fast is stressful as hell. Like, you be mad hungry, you know what I'm saying? And it's a level of discipline though. And again, like, when you're talking about a level of pressure, that is what we're here to do, is to work. Yeah. But the universe works off of pressure mediation, meaning, when you initiate a certain level of pressure on the body, that generates tension. And tension is just the willingness to want to reunite again. So when we're talking about building up the vibration, we're also denoting oscillation. Oscillation comes by way of a compression and rarefaction, compression and rarefaction. So when you're building up muscle in the body, you're tearing it apart to create tension, thus for the muscle to then unify and be better and bigger than it was prior to. You see, but we have to apply that same science relative to our physical body in our personal experiences within our day-to-day. Before I started teaching, which I've only really taught like how I have been for about 2 years now, but I've been on, the studies for over a decade, you know what I'm saying? Like 15, 16.
Check this out. No. Don't say that. Don't say that. You've been on the studies your whole entire life.
You're right. Yeah,
Once you meet up to the point of teaching, that means, look, I'm being 100%. Once you meet up to the point of teaching, that's because you got up to the point of mastery. But the whole entire experience of your life was all of that you was being taught.
I was being taught.
All of that was the student. You understand? So once you get to finally now where you teaching, that's because you've been going through it. So that's why I don't mean to cut off your wisdom too.
No, you good, bro. You good.
You know what I'm saying? That's your unique body. That's your unique person, star seed that came here to experience the world exactly how you saw it up into this existence.
Right, exactly. So, with that being said, I noticed that when I do things that are uncomfortable, like, because I was mad uncomfortable at first with teaching, because I always grew up, I was really reserved. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just chilling, laid back type cat or whatever. But, putting myself in a place of uncomfortability, it showed basically that when you do that, that's when you grow. That's when you become who you are. So putting yourself in a place of comfortability all the time, you become stagnant. You know what I'm saying? You become atrophied. It's equivalent to, again, when you apply the analogy with the muscle. If you don't work it out, it becomes atrophy and then it weakens down. But the goal is to build up the muscle. The goal is to build up the brain. The goal is to fashion a body in such a way that you now adhere to a higher level of consciousness, and thus your magnetic field becomes coherent enough to allow the ancestors to impede prophetic revelations through it, so that way you receive it as intuition and then you deliver it to the people. But it's all relative to, again, applying pressure on the body and putting yourself in a place where you feel everything at once: love, hate, jealousy. Like, what do you feel when you're on stage? You don't know you don't know what people are thinking. Some people can love you, some people can hate you, some people can be jealous, but
all of that goes through your mind.
All of that is going through your mind, and that then becomes a chemistry that's filtered throughout the body to then synthesize certain hormones to give the body instructions to set up a resonance to where you almost transform like this. Reason why, again, when you come off the stage, a lot of times you forget what you said,
and you feel
because
good.
you feel good and say you want to hide.
You want a high.
You want a natural high. You want a natural high.
Like, because it's more because you recognize that in that moment you just went through your own self-healing journey. But nobody recognizes that
when you up there on the stage and you teaching, all they hear is knowledge. While you
Right.
up
Right.
there,
Right.
you going through a whole transformative experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally healing your brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's healing your consciousness. That's why when you get off, you feel so enlightened.
You feel
You
light.
feel so good.
You
You
feel
feel so
light.
light.
You
You
feel
feel
so.
enlightened. You feel at peace. You feel at oneness because you just went through therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, for
And
real.
everybody ain't even know it, but because you was up there teaching.
Yeah.
Also as a form of connectivity, as a form of therapy for others. You understand? Because you giving knowledge. Knowledge is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's therapy, it's like a therapy session, right? It's a therapy session gonna heal your life?
Mm-hmm.
No, it won't. You walk in it with, and it will after the session. The reason why you go to the session is to figure out how you need to program yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way how a lecture works. You go to the lecture to figure out, okay, where do I need to head now in my life? How do I need to program myself? This knowledge, this is dope. I want to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
You learn it through walking through it. You learn it through putting now it into practice. There's no reason to learn about, okay, the truth about reptilians, the truth about all these different races of people that's controlling the world.
None of that.
If you're
Yeah.
not controlling yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
you're not controlling the mind, otherwise you can learn about that and still be up under their whole program
Yeah.
because you're not
Yeah.
laying down the groundwork. You have to lay down the death work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The
Like
ritualistic work
the
on a
ritualistic.
on you doing it on a daily. You put in a daily practice.
Right.
You put in a
Right.
daily focus.
Right.
100%.
Like a musician, you know, the MC, the master of the ceremony. Like it's a ritual when you're on stage, because you're putting yourself in a place of uncomfortability to go from a cube to a tesseract, right? A tesseract is a hyper version or hyperdimensional version of a regular cube. So when you open up a cube, it becomes a cross. Reason why when you see Jesus who died on the cross, he had to put himself up publicly as a full demonstration as a God under a level of uncomfortability. 3 days later, he made ascension or transition. So he went from a cube to a hypercube or a tesseract. You know what I'm saying? The movie The Wrinkle in Time, the dad tried to find the frequency of love, but in order for him to transport to different dimensions, he had to use a tesseract to do it. So he built a tesseract and then got lost in the dimension. And then, you know, the daughter had to go find the dad, which is the story of, you know, the Heru story, avenging the father, etc. You know, but with that being said, you know, when you feel light after you come off the stage, like you said, it's a level of therapy because you just went through a transformative experience, which means now the brain is at a state of bliss. And when the brain is at a state of bliss, what it's doing is it's resonating with a specific ratio relative to the golden spiral. So all those spirals that you see in nature relative to the sunflower, that's what your brain harmonics is doing at that point when you feel light, because you just transform. You see, because through manipulating the contraction of the heart by doing something that you enjoy doing, even though it's uncomfortable, you're building up emotional coherence, which is strengthening your magnetic field. The sun that we see up in the sky every day is demonstrating exactly what we're supposed to do here on this earth, right? And it's not thinking about us.
Not at all.
It's just doing what it's supposed to do in
Doing its job.
totality to its fullest extent, and we just feel the effects.
Doing its
So,
job
you know,
on a daily basis, every day.
on a daily basis. And that's one thing that you can trust. You know the sun is going to come up and then
Right.
go down. So much so that you don't even think about it.
Why are men untrustworthy? Why is anybody untrustworthy?
I think because, you know, we come into this world dismembered purposely in order to remember ourselves. And the remembrance comes by way of being flawed, because flaws are just unique features or electromagnetic signatures that we've acquired. That way we can use our unique skill set in order to move through certain things.
That's one form of untrust. Like, we get that. But I'm talking about the man, let's say, for an example, as yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
A man of your stature,
Mm-hmm.
a man of your intellect. What would make a man of your type of intellect become untrustworthy?
That's a good question. What will make a man of my intellect become untrustworthy? That's a good question. I think it's relative to certain actions. But see, if you don't know me, if you don't know me,
right there.
yeah.
The action.
The action, yeah.
Is no action. It's just like you said about the sun. The sun comes up every day.
Mm-hmm.
It does the same thing every day. Each
Mm-hmm.
program is the same every day.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? You can only, the only thing, see, you test a man by not what he say. You test a man by what he do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's everything, because a man gonna show you who he is, a woman gonna show you who she is, or what they do every day.
Every day, right?
You ain't gotta tell me you trustworthy. I watch you.
Mm-hmm. Like the sun.
I watch you like the sun.
Like the
You
sun.
understand me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
ain't gotta tell me. I ain't gotta tell you that I read energy. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a lot of people that say that they read energy. A lot of people that they read in vibrations, but for some reason, they always fall victim to the falsehood.
Mm-hmm.
The reason being is because they ain't got no discipline. They don't understand that if you want to go into the higher level of mathematics, you ain't just go talk to mathematics. You gonna see it play out in front of your eyes.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The highest mathematics is always simple. 1 through 9 is the highest level of mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people won't get that because they like to hear, again, we black folks, so we like to hear the extravagant. You understand? We like to hear shit sound good to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you playing on our emotional spirit, our emotional intellect, our emotional mathematics.
Right.
We have different levels of mathematics. We got logical mathematics, emotional mathematics, we got spiritual mathematics, we got a whole different array. We got quantum mathematics, universal mathematics, the whole entire nine.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people stay in one realm with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore you got a person saying I'm spiritual and I see energy, but don't know how to read a physical person's every day and day, how they move. Don't know how to read how somebody moves because they missing certain patterns in the way in which they see things.
And see, I think that's a lot of where people are going spiritually, and it becomes trendy to where it's cool to say you read energy, but can you apply the mathematics? When you look at the sun, do you know the mathematics and the mechanics of the sun? Like I said, in Kemet, they taught about the sun in the temple of Heliopolis dealing with the number 9, like you just referenced. You see, and I'm not going to go too much into that, you know what I'm saying? Because, people got to tap in with me with the build.
Yeah, don't go too crazy.
No. But yeah, but with that being said, that's key. So that's a perfect analogy in reference to the sun because we don't even pay homage to the sun no more. We take so much advantage of it just because of the fact that we trust that it's going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So much so that we ignore it. We don't even commodorate it. But again, when you see the walls in Kemet, they got suns on top of their heads. They're eating the sun. They got suns under their feet. What was it about the sun that they knew that we don't know? And that's why, again, it's key to truly understand the mechanics of the universe because once you do, you remove emotion from it. And now you just see nothing but science and mathematics. And when you apply as such, then you can really manipulate things in real time.
You see the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, I'm a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I look at everything as a relationship.
No, that's
I got a relationship with the sun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, because I recognize that if I don't treat the sun like I'm in love with it, the sun ain't gonna treat me like I'm in love with it.
Yes. Look, and they talk about in the Bible. Look. They talk about in the Bible, God loves you, but it's the other way around. Because again, you can't apply human attributes to something that's infinite because it can't have a relationship because it doesn't have anything outside of itself to relate to.
Exactly.
You see? So you commoderating the sun is going to reverberate that back because you're educating the universe. You're educating the sun through your intelligence, through your experiences. You see?
Let's say it like this, right? This is a thought, this is a download. I just received this from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that the sun, it's your direct reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that the sun rises in vibration as you rise in vibration as an observer.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that the sun itself, I'm actually saying let's say, but I'm really telling you what time it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In real time,
Mm-hmm.
the sun vibrates at the same frequency your third eye vibrates.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is only gonna give you the vibration that you're ready for. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, even why this is, it makes sense why certain people could live in a desert and
Right.
certain people can't.
Right. Right.
You understand? Because they mind is primed for the desert. They mind is primed for 130 degrees. If your mind is not primed for 130 degrees, the sun ain't gonna give you 130 degrees. It's gonna tell you where to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people live in colder climates or in hotter climates, because the sun is gonna tell you where you need to live. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Exactly. Yeah.
Hence why Caucasians know to live southern. They don't live northern because Europe ain't north, it's south.
It's
You
south.
understand?
Right. Right.
They know to live south because the sun already communicated with them and told them physically, told them spiritually, nigga, you are a vampire. You understand? You can't even receive my downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Take your ass south. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Hence why a lot of black folks who start to tap into that source code, they start tapping into their knowledge and their wisdom. They start tapping into what they know is to be the truth. Hence why they start to eat right. They eat correctly, start eating to live, and the sun starts telling them, yo, move north, down to the equator.
Mm-hmm.
Move toward north the equator.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to receive even more higher levels of consciousness in that space. You understand? And the sun itself is going to rise in vibration with you. Tap all the way in.
It's gonna rise and see, that's why if you observe fish, you notice the most colorful fish, the fastest ones exist on the top of the surface of the ocean because it's dictated by the sun. The slowest, the biggest, the more savage ones live deep down underwater because they have less access to the information. You see, so they talk about at the beginning was the word, but they're talking about sound, which denotes word. But sound becomes light, which becomes flesh. So when you can't receive the word, then the instructions are there for you to maneuver a certain way. You see, because the sun is a generator. So it's consistently delivering us information because it acts as a hyperdimensional gateway. And it's developed through torsion, which again is, I'm not gonna go too much into that. But, you know, again, like you said, we communicate with the sun in totality. And the goal is to set up the resonance in order to communicate with it by way of acknowledging the sun. But again, a lot of us don't pay homage and commemorate the sun, so thus we don't receive information from it. The sun is mindful, it's conscious. You know, it's plasma. Plasma is its own entity. And I've used this analogy as well, like when you see movies.
The sun is pure plasma, right?
Hmm?
The sun is pure
Yeah,
plasma,
pure,
right?
yeah, it's pure. Oh, yeah, when they talk about from the darkness came light, they're talking about hydrogen. So we're talking about pure hydrogen, right? And so with that being said, when you look in movies, you notice that when they have a portal, it's always the good guys that are able to run through. But as soon as the bad guy gets to it, he gets rejected. He can't make it through the portal. Reason being is because the sun has the capacity to gauge your magnetic field with its magnetic field relative to emotional coherence. So when you go out and commemorate the sun, best believe that the sun is paying attention and hearing everything you're saying. It just doesn't speak through words. Same thing DNA doesn't do. It doesn't speak with language and words. It speaks with resonance. It speaks with frequency. It speaks with vibration. So when you set up a certain vibration with the sun, best believe, yeah, it's going to dictate your reality as we move through this simulation and set up supernatural doors for you to open up. So that way you continue to educate the universe through your own personal experiences. You know?
Damn, I hate when, you know how it be, man, when you tap into the source,
Yeah, I know.
people start calling.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
100%. I was actually about to just because I'm listening to you speak, my good brother, and I'm hearing so much wisdom, so much observation,
Mm-hmm.
so much. I mean, effective wisdom, though. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
And of course, if you never heard me communicate, you never heard me speak, then you gonna think like because a brother's coming from his warrior, right? Or a brother come from his warrior. Of course, you're not used to a lot of people not used to a black man coming from his warrior.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't be used to that, God, and they don't be
Mm-hmm.
used to that warrior knowledge, that
Right.
warrior wisdom that comes through. But they be used to the scholarly, which is why, see, this is the thing. I wanted my brother to tap in with me today, because I wanted, not only did I want to receive, right, the blessing of your wisdom, pause, right? I wanted to also build upon in this space. Therefore, we can get people to get a full revolution,
A revolution.
a full
Right.
understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and this is the thing. Somebody heard me say, "Why can't we see the sun?" Look, I'm gonna tell you something. When you speak the truth offends. The truth tends to have this comedic understanding about it.
Mm-hmm.
That when you say something that is truthful, when you receive the truth, you have to now receive it. That's the thing about the truth, because it is mathematics.
It's mathematics.
When you receive in mathematics, you have an inner program that automatically has to discern information. You understand? And so as soon as it receives the truth, whatever blockages, whatever spiritual shit you dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
it now has to deal with that truth.
Mm-hmm.
It now has to, it's either resist it or submit to it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, when I tell you something like, if a white man can't be out in the sun, I can observe with my own two black, beautiful, scientific eyes that white people in general cannot receive the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Their skin starts to turn into boils. This ain't even me being divisive. That is scientific.
It's the science. Yeah,
That's
it's
just
the
the
science.
science. That's the high level observation. If I observe that, that is my real experience. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing divisive about that. That's just me speaking about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. And see, that's the problem with reality now, and why people can't deal with death. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
People can't deal with death because we like to deal with falsehood.
Mm-hmm.
And dealing in death, you have to deal with the reality of a situation.
The reality.
Right?
Right.
Like you said, our ancestors before us, we understood the science of reality.
The science of reality. Look.
Science of reality.
Real quick.
You understand?
Yeah, no. This is, see, that's the secret. When you get into the science of reality, that's when the universe starts to respond to you differently. I'm telling you, like when you apply the
emotion,
because you're removing emotion from it.
Yeah.
You're removing emotion from it. And again, like, I want to touch on the one, I want to touch on something real quick. You know, because when we speak about love, right? We talked about God loves us, but it's the other way around. Love is self-induced. It's a self-induced phenomena, which means everybody outside of you serves as just a catalyst to stimulate what you already inherently have within you as love. So when your kids are running to you when you walk through the door, that feeling isn't coming from the outside and going within. That feeling is starting within. So when you begin to embrace that, you naturally radiate that out. Reason being, like I said, the sun is demonstrating exactly what we're supposed to do because it's loving itself in totality, and thus we're feeling the effects from it with its radiation, heat, which is love. Infrared radiation is heat, is love. So with that being said, reason being why even with chickens, when they sit on the eggs, they have to apply the heat or the infrared light in order for the babies to grow within the egg. That's love. Heat is love. So with that being,
that's the thing that a lot of people don't recognize, is that when you're dealing with, let's say, the original Asiatic black beings, like you said, just like how when we experience that feeling between us and our child, you must recognize that we experience that for the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We experience that out for the people of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So when we teach, it's coming from a level of love that you would never be able to comprehend.
You can't conceptualize what that is.
Can't conceptualize my level of love.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because my love goes beyond your emotional plane. Exactly. My love is beyond your rationality. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. You rationale on a level that doesn't even experience love yet. You understand?
Right.
Because a lot of y'all still stuck and a lot of people are still stuck in a ninth year, 7th year, 6th year reality. you still 6 years old in your consciousness, still seeing things as black and white.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So when you hear somebody say something that sounds black and white, you rationaling it from that perspective of racism. You understand? Like, nigga, we so above that. We so above that.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
on a whole nother dimension.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We triggering you because you on a lower level of acceptance.
Yeah.
You on a lower level of acceptance, of submission.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why in the Quran we are taught to submit.
Mm-hmm.
We are taught to submit to higher levels of consciousness, submit to your master.
Yeah.
When you hear two masters speaking on a certain level of topic, it's just here to really, in reality, I should turn off the comments. You understand? Because in reality, it just turns you coming into a dialogue between two gods. And that's all you got to recognize. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
This is a dialogue between two gods. I'm really learning from this guy right now.
Appreciate it, and vice versa, bro. Like, again, when we talk about being submissive, this is why they say in the Bible, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you're like the mind of a child. Because a child is naturally submissive, but also a child asks a million questions a day. A child doesn't stop being intuitive. A child uses its imagination. A child will take a water bottle and hit in his own mind, it's a whole helicopter, it's a whole airplane. You see, so he's adding signatures to, you know, his outside reality to apply certain definitions to it, because in his mind, he believes that what he's seeing is a plane, even if he's, you know, flying a water bottle clear across the room and things of that nature. So with that being said, you know, the idea is to utilize your imagination. And this is why Albert Einstein even made the comment and said imagination is better than knowledge, because it's your imagination and perspective that changes your reality. We spoke about the sun, right? We talked about how the sun shows action. This is the reason why people can trust the sun, because it's demonstrating what it's supposed to do. Myself, with the algorithm, I do it, and I do it consistently, so much so that when I play something out, people already subconsciously know that whatever Alkebulan plays is going to roll out. You see, it's trust. You're building up a level of trust.
High level.
So, but it starts with the mathematics and it starts with the science. Yeah. This is why, again, all of our ancestors talked about that they were scientists and they were mathematicians and they were engineers, you know, but we get a small scope of it by way of just trying to understand the pyramids. We go to Kemet, walk in there and take pictures. Europeans go in there, come out with technology because they're trying to decipher the information. We go in there and sensationalize it and act like we aren't those same people today that are living right now. So
I'm gonna tell you something, God. I'm gonna tell you something. Let me just say that. Download I receive. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Just say download I receive. This is about pyramids in general. We use pyramids, seed planets. Every planet in the universe is, at first, it's fertile soil. It's a womb. Pain. We take the 1 and the 3, we put it into a symbol. We put it into a pyramid. We drop pyramids on all of the planets. In those pyramids is our DNA.
Right.
In those pyramids is, because you must recognize this. We don't have to put a symbol in something because we put our blood in it. Once we put our blood in it, a drop of this blood is worth a billion universes.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So all we got to do is create the pyramids, right? Which is these structures, this technology. We put our vibration into it. We put our blood into it. And we drop that on planets in the hundreds of thousands to millions. Hence why mountain ranges look like pyramids, because over time those pyramids seed into the earth, seed into the womb, starts to form organic materials into vibe. Hence why you see the mountains ranges look like, again, pyramids, Now, the pyramid of Giza, the recent pyramids that we see, and this is just what I received, right? Those pyramids are not only for that same reason, but they're for art.
For art.
Art.
Break that.
One of the five.
Yeah.
One of the in a Buddha in a Buddha the Buddha Vista, whatever it's called.
No,
I can't.
I know.
The Buddha Vista. I think that's the name.
Yeah.
There is 5 sciences you should learn in order to become omniscient. Those 5 sciences, or those 5 sciences are art, logic,
Mm-hmm.
language,
Mm-hmm.
spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was one more. Art, logic, language, spirit. It was one more. What was that last one?
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me. I ain't gonna hold on to it.
Yeah.
But think about those real quick. Now, and this is how I look at religion. And this is why I want people to stop talking so much shit about religion, actually, because we sound really unintelligent
Mm-hmm.
when we talk shit about religion. We really do.
Yeah.
Unintelligent. We really do.
Yeah.
We really do. This is what we need to understand about religion. Let's say at the beginning, we seeded this world with pyramids. Let's say the first human beings, they came from our blood, it came from our DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
They in different regions. We gave each and every single last one of these people a different orientation on how to see God, on how to come to the Creator, on how to raise their vibration, right? So we taught the Japanese, we taught the Indians, we taught the Arabs, we taught the natives, the Olmekians, and we taught the black man. We taught each and every one of them. We said, look, you hold this tradition, you hold that tradition, you hold this level of knowledge and understanding. And from there on, we're going to leave you to yourself, because we want you to all end up unifying your knowledge, unifying your mind, unifying your understanding, and grow with that. And we're going to leave you to yourself. So over time, right, hence why we will have certain understandings of Hinduism, hence why we have certain understandings of Buddhism, Jews, the whole nine. This was, at certain points of time, our consciousness, we rising in consciousness, because we are supposed to get to a singularity.
A singularity, right?
A singularity, right. Not in that time will stop and the world will end. A singularity in which we come to the full unification of our soul. You understand? The full understanding of our soul. The full understanding of how to become a God. So we go from, let's say, okay, let's say Hinduism, right? Let's just say, I'm just using it, right? It's all spirits and all these different things, spirits and that. We upgrade from that, right?
Right.
Judaism, you understand me? We get that. We upgrade from that. Christianity, you understand? It's another book after that. You see what I'm saying? The Quran, the final book, which is to give you the full understanding of how to submit to that one mind. But every single last one was to unify the consciousness, because everything works like a spider web. You understand? Hence why spiders recreate the same pattern of the universe.
Right.
If you don't know, spiders recreate the same pattern of the universe, the same web that is within your sky. The spider itself is the unification it represents, and hence in the Quran, chapter of the spider represents grounding. Grounding all of your information, grounding all of your knowledge, grounding all of your understanding into the different houses. Also, why people have this understanding of, we got Virgo, Capricorn,
right.
the spider web. piece them all together. They all build one home, one house, one web, one understanding, one unification, one mind in the universe. It's one source. So, but we have young people spiritually, mentally, fuck that Bible, fuck that Quran, fuck that, don't even understand that, you know, all that is a part of the pantheon.
It's all part of it.
It's all a
And even
part of the pantheon.
when you look at the Dogon mythology, they talk about the story of Anansi the spider. Because Dogons had the capacity to be...
Brother, you being told.
They had the capacity.
Okay.
Look, because they had the capacity to be able to visibly see the geometrical lattice or the conjugate geometry of the universe that looks like a spider. When we look at Spider-Man, we're looking at the black, or we're looking at the blue and the red. But what that is electricity and magnetism. So they had the capacity to weave electromagnetism by way of tracing the geometrical lattice and understanding that when certain planets are in proximity of each other, that's creating a certain level of pressure within the ethers, which allows them to adhere to the information that's coming through. But it's all relative to geometry. So when we're talking about net or spider web, we're talking about the Neteruts.
The Neteru.
We're talking about the gods, right? So,
about, yeah,
you know, we
can get to that, because a lot of people don't know what the Neteru is.
Right.
No, so, the Neteru is.
Right. So, you know, that's what they qualified as a god in Kemet, you know, but when they were talking about gods, they were personifying forces of nature that we couldn't see with the physical eye.
Yes.
So when you seen the symbol of a flag on the wall in Kemet, you understand that when you see a flag in real life or real time, you see something blowing it. You see a force blowing it. You don't see the force, but you should see the effect. You don't see the cause, but you see the effect.
The effect.
The effects. So with that being said, they denoted a flag to be a god. That's one aspect. But then they will qualify a bird to be a...
I like that word you just used, aspect.
The aspect.
It's the aspect.
It's the aspect of it.
The aspect.
So, you know, again, the idea, like you said, through religion, is to help aid the body and the mind to condition itself to understand that this pure consciousness or this one singularity is just a fraction or just a totality of all the religions that exist. Exactly. Whether it doesn't matter what school of religion or thought that you go into.
It don't matter.
So, you know, when you are able to decode what's being said in Buddhism, Christianity, then again, that's when you become the scientist and the mathematician, because you're removing the emotion from it.
You're removing all the, and you're removing like the added things.
Right.
There's a lot of added from human beings, right? You start to see through the emotional things that human beings added within it. Like, hold on, that's human.
That's it. Right.
That's human right there. That ain't spirit.
Right.
Because you get to a masterful level of being able to communicate with spirit. You recognize, like you said, in that web, that Neteru, that's within, right? You're going to physically start to see that spirit. This is the thing, right? Like, I don't believe in no spook God. You understand? I don't believe in no spook God. I don't believe in no God that ain't here to show you right here the programming right here and now. A lot of people be believing it and having faith in something that can't prove. You understand? No, I only have faith in what I can prove.
What you can prove. Right.
With my own two eyes. You understand? Therefore, when you see it with your own two eyes, now you beyond belief. You in reality.
Right.
Reality. And a lot of people tend to escape reality. We use knowledge to escape reality. Hence why we don't have a lot of wise wisdom. We don't have a lot of wise ones, because we have so many people who tend to, I just want knowledge. I just want knowledge. I'm going to be at home with my knowledge. Never going to put this knowledge out. Never going to give it to nobody else. Never going to help nobody. Never going to connect the dots, which is the Neteru.
Right.
It's the net, which is being, if we understand it, just on a regular level, like look at the web, the internet. They using your source code. using your ancient knowledge and wisdom to create physical, tangible things in reality that we use day to day on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why we can't get enough of it, because it comes from our inner working.
Inner workings, right?
You understand?
We feel some sort of relationship and familiarity with it. It's something familiar to it, you know. So again, like the fact that, like you said, the internet, the web, all of that ties back into a mythological perspective, understanding that again, everything is interconnected. You know, so just like a spider, when a spider develops a web and a bug flies into the web, it generates a vibration. That vibration is what gets the spider's attention, and that's when the spider comes out the hole and, you know, eats the prey, or, you know, the bug or whatever is caught up in the web. But it's the same process. Again, religion is just a tethering or just a string that's connected to the one thing, but it's crystallized in a form to give you a reference point physically, so that way you can see something outside of you that represents forces that you can't normally see with the physical eye. This is why, again, melanin is so powerful, because melanin is just carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. But if you notice, 3 of those gases, you can't physically see them. You can't see hydrogen, you can't see oxygen, you can't see nitrogen. But what crystallizes them into a physical representation is carbon. You see, so carbon has the capacity to take gases and thread them through the net in order to crystallize something to bring it into the tangible existence. You see, so again, we're talking about weaving things. We're talking about a science called interferometry, which again, like I said, I'm not gonna go too far into that, but that's knowing how to weave electromagnetism. Henceforth, again, why Spider-Man is red and blue, because you're talking about the geometrical lattice that makes up the entire universe, which is light. You see, so you know, with that being said, yeah, that's a key point.
You got school, so you got a school of thought, right?
Yeah.
Hence why you want to go deeper into that space in your school of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just tell people, like, nigga, go into my school of thought to learn deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a whole school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see,
yeah.
You said you in the realm of Ptah, right? Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you
mm-hmm.
said, right? So I want everybody here to understand this. It was one point in time where, man, these clouds look beautiful. There was one point in time where we had temples.
Right.
Now, of course, someone who don't understand rap music said that our temples were temples of worship of deities.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
The same way you got rappers today, right, who all represent a certain frequency.
Right.
You don't worship those frequencies.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't worship it. You have the temple of Isis,
Mm-hmm.
temple of Osar,
Mm-hmm.
temple of Anpu.
Mm-hmm.
These weren't places of worship of us.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This was a school of thought.
Right. It was a school of thought. Right.
School of thought.
Right.
You see, we understood archetypes. We understood it because we understand the math.
Mm-hmm.
We understood the archetypes. We understood the school of reality.
Mm-hmm. The school of reality.
We understand God's modus operandi.
Mm-hmm.
How he programs children.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we was in the nature of programming star seeds. Right. You understand? That was our business. Our business was to program and ascend human beings to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we was in the business of. We wasn't in the business of worshiping self.
Right.
You understand? And worshiping other men.
Right.
That wasn't our business.
Mm-hmm.
That was never our business. Mm-hmm. We never worshiped the material plane. We knew that this world was this world itself, it's a training ground.
It's right. We knew
that.
Right.
We knew that. So when we had, let's say, when you got the temple of Anpu, the temple of Osar, the temple of Isis, the whole entire nine, we knew the archetypes of the consciousness that comes through the womb.
Mm-hmm.
Some wombs don't have a father,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some children that come through the womb, they grow up without a father, right? Bring them to the temple of Anpu. He deals with the primordial space of the mind, right? Of the subconscious plane that deals with abandonment. Take them to that temple. Okay, let's go into, there are certain women that come into the plane of existence. They're not built to be wives, right? They more so warriors. Take them to the temple of Sekhmet. You see what I'm saying? The school of thought. It's an archetypical school. A school to raise up that's specific to that being. You understand? Specific to that child, to that star seed. But see, look, we got all these children going to one school of thought, right? A school that was built by they oppressors to oppress their consciousness, to oppress their gifts. Then in that school of thought, it teaches them that in the original schools that we was teaching you polytheism, that we was teaching you how to be against your God. You see how powerful this is?
It just, yeah, not.
You see how powerful? See, they know that first they had to teach you God was a spirit. You're gonna go to hell. You're gonna go to hell for going against basically our teachings.
Right.
Then we put you in our school of 666. Because remember, at the age of 6, when the brain starts to truly develop, then at the age of 12, the brain goes through a whole nother dimensional shift. Then at 18, you become, which is another 6. Now it's either you become a beast or a god at that point, which is why at the age of 18 you graduate. You graduate into the school of the beast.
Right.
You understand? Into the material plane. You graduate into the material world. Oh, we got you now. But you see, the reason why we, let's say as brothers and wise ones, we come on simply just to give you the mathematics and what time it is. To get us back to the point of reality unification. Because we gonna get to the point, and I'm gonna put this out there in the world, in the universe. We gonna get to the point, like I was stating earlier, where our children are going to be able to, their power is gonna be so magnificent.
Crazy, yeah.
They are going to be able to use their gifts and not have to ask for a prayer.
Yeah.
They're not gonna have to use a prayer. Not gonna have to use anything to separate them from the gifts of the cosmos. Right now, the reason why is because of our chromosomes. Each generation comes with a stronger level of chromosomes after the next one. We don't have the connection yet to our gifts on our purest level, simply because we not given. We not given that because we ain't in that super purified state yet.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Because I always thought about it like this. Why would I give you gifts? Why would I give you powers? It's like giving powers to a child that's disobedient. It's like giving gifts to a child that's disobedient. Why keep giving gifts to a child that don't even listen to his mother or his father? You just don't. What you building? What you giving? You understand? Like, what are you doing for that child? You actually going against their whole programming, because in life they gonna feel like they can't do anything.
Right.
Because they was given everything. Do you understand? Hence why you spoke on pain as being one of the levels of how we grow, of how we get to the higher dimensions. I can even see just from the perspective of, if I take myself out of an emotional place, God, if I take myself out of any emotion, right, and I see it simply from, this is something on a universal scale that is teaching me about me. Even what my people been through for 400 plus years, that pain gave me an upgrade.
Right. No, for real.
That pain gave me the greatest upgrade over every other being that exists in the universe. because nobody went through that pain.
Nobody.
You
And nobody
understand?
can't go through it.
They
Nobody
can't
can't.
go through
No other
it
race
because
can go through
nobody
no other race can go through that.
gonna ever even get the gift of going through that pain. You understand? That's a gift.
It's fact.
They don't even recognize that, nigga. You see, this is how I see it. La ilaha illallah. It is only God's word. So even if I go through something painful, that was my gift because I come out on top. You understand? You never see the hero, the superhero never lose. Superman don't lose. He go look, Brainiac, who? Dark Side, who? You understand?
Yeah.
There ain't nobody that's gonna stand against me and my gift to overcome. As being a black man, I got a gift that nobody in this universe has. My gift to overcome. And I'm about to let you go, God. Let you go into your spiel, into your mathematics. The reason why that exists within our bones to overcome is so we can be better.
Right.
You understand? Not even better on a physical sense or spiritual sense, but better from a quantitative sense. Better as in we the type of beings who, because we went through it, we not gonna subject anybody else to that in the universe. We not gonna subject none of our children to that for the rest of eternity. You understand? Therefore, I think we learned our lesson.
Facts.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we had to learn our lesson. So therefore, we don't subject that shit to nobody because, let's be honest, black folks, when we was guys, come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
We was on that.
And like you said, like, see, people don't take that perspective in reference to being black in America, so-called black, you know, which is a gift because that gives us the capacity to initiate the proportionality compared to what we experience. So that low, to be that low under that much control 400 years ago, just imagine proportionality to that would be on a higher level, on the opposite end of the spectrum. You see? So it's almost like the trampoline effect. The more you go into the trampoline, the higher you're going to jump back up and accelerate, you know, higher. So, you know, a level of pressure, even if we're not physically experiencing what they went through back then, through what do you call it? Transgenerational epigenetic inheritance, we still feel the effects from it genetically because we're triggered by certain things. That still sets up a certain resonance in the body. So just having the thought and the memory and the reinforcement through movies is a level of compression or stress that we're not supposed to adhere to by way of being a victim to it, but understanding that that was a test to put us through so that we can become the best version of ourselves.
That was an upgrade.
It's an upgrade.
That was like Goku. That was like Goku, you know what I'm saying? Like anytime he see if Krillin got knocked down, if his son got knocked down, you understand? That's that Super Saiyan within you to say, man, I'm finna go to the next level. Because I'm not gonna be defeated. Because if all of us get defeated, damn. So now that inner Saiyan within you that inner Jedi has to awaken, right? Hence why, again, we wouldn't have the representation of every powerful black man and woman that came into existence, hence
afterward. We wouldn't have that.
Afterward. No. We wouldn't have none of those. You understand? We wouldn't. Matter of fact, I look at it as like a way of which if we ain't experienced what we experienced, would our consciousness even get to this level?
No, it would not. It would not.
It would not have.
No, it wouldn't have.
Like even a way in which we able to communicate now.
Yeah,
our consciousness wouldn't be on this level. Like this is in the universe. This is brand new.
It's brand new.
It's brand new. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
We wouldn't even be having a conscious communication like this where we talking about frequency. We talking about vibration. We talking about numbers and mathematics. We talking about, in my essence and what I'm understanding, even the ancient Kemetic gods wasn't even at this level of being able to communicate. They had a spiritual, ritualistic practice, but they didn't have the level of communication, the sophistication in our linguistics. You understand? Because we coming from so many different nuances and parameters that we are breaking through in our language, and even how we are looping over mathematics, how we are looping over intuition, and even when we tap into certain levels of linguistics, they couldn't have dreamed of that.
That's what I'm saying.
They couldn't have dreamed of these type of perspectives.
Yeah. I mean, we just developed the lexicon to be able to tailor certain phenomena into a language to where now we can evoke and speak it, and thus even create a better reality than we had based on the work. But that's why it's key to understand more than just the word, though. We got to understand, again, like we're talking about vibration and frequency. It's all reference to resonance, you know. So, yeah, you know, we can do this all day.
All day. Let me know, but I'm ready to.
Yeah. No, I want to.
All right, man. I'm activated.
No, I am too, bro. And what we can leave with the people, what I leave with them is with.
I'll turn the comments back on real quick.
Yeah. But what I would leave with the people is, you know, the goal is, you know, to first and foremost just understand that you've designed everything up until this point. You know, you're living out a cosmic script, your own narrative that you're directing.
Yeah, that's right.
But the fact that a lot of us take victimhood and negative experiences that we go through, we don't properly extrapolate the lesson from it. Thus, we continue to repeat the cycle. But when we understand that when we have negative experiences, I mean, it could be the most traumatic experience. You have to think about then the proportionality of what that's going to represent on the other side. Because if you're dealing with the law of polarity, that's just the equal but opposite reaction. That's the pendulum swinging backwards. So understand that everything not only is divinely engineered, but it's utilized for your greater good, because it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You see, so when you take on that perspective, again, the universe is going to respond different, because what you're doing now is you're setting up a higher harmonic within your own personal reality. And thus, when you reciprocate that energy back to the universe is going to feed that back to you by upgrading your personal reality and opening up supernatural doors for you, because you're doing the work. When you do the work by educating the universe is going to reciprocate that energy back.
There's no respect.
It's going to develop.
It's going to develop respect for you. So you know how when people say, "I'm protected," I'm protected in these realms, I don't even gotta walk. The reason why you walk in confidence is because you recognize that the universe respects you now.
Right.
So it ain't even go allow for certain things to happen in your realm of existence no more.
That's it.
It's like I respect you too much.
That's it.
I respect you too much to put you through that ever again. You understand?
Because you've learned the lesson.
You learned the lesson.
You've learned the lesson. You learn. So when you do that again, the universe is going to upgrade your reality because you're upgrading the universe. And like I've always said, you'll then begin to see articles coming out saying that the universe is expanding. The universe is not expanding. It's the consciousness of the people within the universe expanding, because they're going through their heroic journey and they're learning the lessons. You see?
The universe, again, before we get off, universe is just a consciousness. It's a stream of electricity.
Right.
It's just a stream of, don't confuse the universe with being God. Universe was created by us.
Yes.
You understand? It was created by us, for us, like FUBU, nigga.
And I'll end with this. We created the concept of the universe so that humanity in its infinity never has anything to stop looking forward to become, if I worded that right. So the greatest concept that we could create is the universe, because that gives us an idea of what whoever is striving to become what they want to be could become, but it never tends to be reachable because there's no limit on it. So if there's no limit on it, then that means the sky is not necessarily the limit. You can move beyond the sky because it has no limits.
What sky?
You see what I'm saying? So, you know,
Sky exists?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. You know what
I
I'm
didn't
saying?
know that.
Like, I didn't either.
I didn't know it was a such thing as name as the sky.
I didn't either.
I didn't
You
know
know,
that. I didn't. This is a sky?
until somebody named it, and then we defined it as that, and then we put a cap on what that could possibly become for us. You see?
Absolutely.
So with that being said,
I'll let you go, God.
No,
I'll let you go. I know you ready. You know what I'm saying?
no, you good.
You go.
I just gotta take
I'll
care
let
of the
you go.
babies.
But I'm ready shit too. But you know when you get in that space,
I-
man, it be
I know
so
you.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It gets so beautiful to just give. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It just give because you know you really channel. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? You know you really channel.
yeah.
And so therefore, when you give it, it's a part of your purpose.
Right.
You understand? It's a part of your purpose to give. It's a part of your purpose to channel that divine, that true divine information, right?
Right.
So that's why I'm doing this thing where I'm just building with God.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I tapped in with you, because I wanted to build with God, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Just give the information to the gods and let people know that, nah, nigga, we here.
Yeah,
We
we hit
exist.
real time.
We real time.
In real
You
time.
understand? This the trooper tile right there. Stop playing with him. He really just saying, like, you know, I'm in the school, but nigga, in reality,
I mean,
and we, you know what I'm saying? We go keep it humble, but I'm just telling you what time it is.
yeah, no doubt, God. Well, like I said, bro, this long time away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew this was gonna be the type of energy. I appreciate your genuine energy. Like, you know, everything that you set up in reference to information and that you deliver is always self-empowering, and it comes from a place of love, and I know people feel that. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this build, and it was mad refreshing to go back with another guy and reciprocate the energy back, because a lot of times you talk and then you get, you know, you drain yourself because nobody's giving that energy back. You know, but we're creating that two-way communication because we understand that we live in a binary system, that the universe reciprocates back to us by way of us educating the universe and seeing us subjectively, as you and I are talking, just as a fragment of the universe educating itself. So with that being said, God, again, we got to have a part two. We'll do a part two to it.
It's done.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's already done.
It's already done.
It's done. You know that shit was already in my consciousness.
It's already done.
It's already done. Matter of fact, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do a part two, and we're gonna do it bigger.
Yeah, we're gonna do it big.
I need to know. Just let me send me your math and all
Yeah,
that,
bro.
so we can.
We good. Yeah, we're gonna lock in and get some things done for real. Yeah. No doubt, man. Well, other than that,
we got shit working. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working on certain things, platforms.
Yeah.
It's up.
No doubt. Well, yeah, holla at me, shoot me a DM, we'll connect, and then, like I said, we're gonna have something monumental for the family that we're gonna present in due time. But
yes, sir. Let's do that.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a preview. So
it's just
no
a preview. That's the thing. You know, that's just what it is when you're dealing with the actual energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The actual energy, not only is it gonna give you the energy, but it's always a deeper level to the energy.
It can get way deeper, bro.
Way deeper.
Scratching the surface. Honestly, we just it's a difference between explaining something and then describing it. Like right now, we're kind of describing it. Like I can have a red hat on and I can say the hat is red, and you know the rim is bent a little bit, but to explain it is okay. It's made of this material. It's made of this red dye. This is the number.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But now we're just.
But when it's like when the guys meet up, it's just the coherence is just between me and you.
Mm-hmm. It's out of here, yeah.
Then it's like, it's okay, we can go through that
we
You
can
can jump.
we can cross that
We can cross
threshold. Like,
that threshold.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can cross all the thresholds.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
To the God.
No doubt, God. Well, yeah, shoot me your math and then we'll connect, brother.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Stay dangerous.
All right, peace.
Peace. And I'm gonna just close it out real quick. You know, I'm gonna start doing that, closing out all my lives, leaving off the people with a breath of fresh air. That's just what I come here to do on the face of planet Earth. Right? I'm a breath of fresh air. You know, I'm not a reincarnation. I can't say that I'm a reincarnation because the reason why I can't say I'm a reincarnation because I ain't forget the ancient knowledge. You understand? I'm an incarnation, meaning that I'm the same being incarnated through time, right? Come with equipped with the same level of information and knowledge that I've been having since the beginning of the universe. My name is Anpu, Anpu for the ones who don't understand and for the ones who do. Anpu, you know, I'm the warrior of souls. I'm the protector of the kingdom of the underworld. My father is God. My father is the God of the underworld. You understand? So I already came into existence with the gift, with the power, with the knowledge. Hence why you and we all got to start teaching our children in the womb. Matter of fact, you teach your child before you even conceive of your child. You understand? You teach your child by being the person that you want to replicate into existence. But a lot of people be trying to, niggas stay in lust. And as long as you stay in lust, you gonna recreate lust into existence. Not even knowing that that's what you're doing. And this is the last word. Stop giving y'all children names of ancient deities and you ain't ready to rear that child into that name. You understand? Don't give your child the name of Ma'at if you ain't finna sit there and respect Ma'at by teaching your child how to be that. You understand? By teaching your child how to be that incarnation. But see, a lot of y'all and a lot of people be sitting there disrespecting our ancestors in their names, giving their names to children that you ain't gonna sit there and take care of. You understand? Whole time now this child gotta live up to a name that they was never taught on how to be like. You understand? So now they fragmentations in the universe. You got a fragmented Ma'at walking around. You got a fragmented ISIS walking around talking about niggas is munches. You understand? Not even knowing the gift of who they are. Because y'all not sitting there, y'all had this ancient knowledge and wisdom enough to get a child the name of a God, but not enough to rear that child into a God. Stop defiling our ancient names. Let's stop doing that. If you're gonna be a parent, be a parent. You're gonna get gifted. I don't know what's wrong with folks. Y'all don't even understand. You gonna sit there and raise a being into existence and not take care of that child? Is you crazy? Don't you understand that all your blessings gonna come through that baby? Every single last one that you ever wanted is gonna come through you taking care of that child. But a lot of y'all brothers, y'all be walking away from your gift. Walking away from your gift. And wondering why life ain't working out. You understand me? See, I told y'all who I am. I told you I'm the warrior of souls. You understand? So if you come on my live, you come on my program, and you ain't ready to get your soul weighed, I don't know why you here. I don't know why you here, God. You understand me? Because I love you. I love you on a whole different level of programming. You know, I love you. I love you in a primordial sense. I love you into the primordial waters. I love you into the deep. I love you into the underworld. And I love you back out of the underworld. You understand me? I love you beyond your comprehension. I love you beyond your selfishness. I love you beyond your scarcity. I love you beyond your ideas of lack. 100%. Stay black. We tapped all the way in. There's only one mind in the universe. Open your universe.